Well, I ventured down to take a look at this truck here and considering buying it. I still partly am, but while I was, this planer happened to be there. And essentially, what happened is the guy had passed away who owned all this stuff, and he was a big collector of, you know, antique machine tools and pretty much all things old. So the guy had steam engines and all kinds of stuff, and a lot of that stuff was gone, but that little planer was still there. And this is really how far out in the sticks I had to go. Actually, it gets deeper than this, but anyways. So I made an offer on the planer that was pretty low, and I even told the guy, hey, this is a low offer, but I do want the thing, this is what I can afford to do, and he took it. And anyhow, so that's how I ended up buying this planer. And I've always wanted a planer, so and it seems like, in my experience, if you want the good stuff, you got to really get out there in the sticks, and it's hiding out there. You come across stuff like this too in the places you least expect it. So this was down in Campo, and which is in Cal, and it's basically on the border of Mexico. So right across the border is Tecate. Anyhow, I had to rent a U-Haul, and I took the thing apart and moved it in pieces. And it came apart pretty easy. This planer's in really, really good shape as far as planers go. And I come to find out after I bought it that this thing actually, apparently it was once in the Henry Ford Museum. So there's a really beautiful sunset there on the way back up home. I live in Pomona, so this was about a 130-mile drive for me one way. Yeah, and it was kind of a nerve-wracking drive. Just in a little Dodge Dakota, and that truck was riding pretty low, just with the weight in the bed. I had the platen in the columns, and cross rail and everything in the bed. Anyhow, and the trailer, of course, had the bed and legs. So we got home about 7:30, and I was out there until about 2 in the morning, trying and slowly inching this thing off of the trailer. It was not easy to do. It's very heavy, and it's not something you want to be playing around with or rushing. So you see, I've got ratchet straps there, which this is really a job for a come along, but I didn't have a come along, and just slowly controlling it. I got a pallet jack under the other end. I had used an engine crane to actually lift the thing up off the trailer and slide that cart under it. It didn't get transported that way. That would not have been safe at all. And I live on a little bit of a busy street, and so getting this planer off was a pain in the butt. But eventually I got it off, and then of course it had to sit in the driveway overnight. I tarped it just because my brother-in-law's car ended up breaking down, and it and another car were stuck in the driveway, and I couldn't get it past them. And so anyhow, that's how that worked out. These are some of the parts I got in that night, and there's a way there, and one of the drive gears, various other parts. Those are the tool posts.
These are the
it had two of them, and the clapper box is a little bit unique on this, but I'll get into that in a future video. You can see there's a center drill hole, so they could turn that round portion on the top. Very common for the old machinery. You'll find center drill holes and all kinds of stuff. 'Cause they did a lot of work on lathes. While I was up there, I also picked up that simplex jack. That's a 10-ton jack. I just got my foot there for scale. It's a big old honking thing. You know, I paid, well, I got a good deal on that. You can't find those for less than $100 these days. And I looked up that model when I was on the way home. I looked them up on eBay. The cheapest one I saw, they were asking $350 for it, and the most expensive one I saw, they were asking $800, which is just crazy for a jack, mechanical jack. So, yeah, that was kind of surprising. And now that's what they're asking. I don't know if that's what they're getting, but anyhow, yeah. So anyhow, the next morning we got the car moved. Once the car was moved, I was able to, this is the first major part I brought back in. That's the columns, the cross rail, cross member, tool head, that whole assembly, which is very, very heavy. I'm lucky I've got this big door in the shop that I can roll in machinery, but I actually have a pretty small shop, so I'm still trying to do some rearranging in there to get all that stuff, nice and situated. And I'm still kind of meandering over exactly where I'm going to stick this planer. It's a little bigger than I thought, but it's good to have a larger machine than you need. And that's the goal, get the largest machine, most capable machine that you can.
Which I have now. And what I need to do is tool these down.
I was actually talking during when I was filming this, and I'm trying a new app, but it's allowing me to do voiceover. So what I'm actually showing here is a pallet jack wheel. I have two pallet jacks, and anyhow, one of them had bad wheels on it when I got it. Well, I work at a shop that does rubber, so I got them to throw some new, that's actually urethane, which is what it had on it originally. I had them throw some new urethane on there, and I have to tool it down. So I'm going to do that in a future video and show how you turn urethane, or a lot of soft plastics and hard rubbers. Anyhow, funny enough, that wasn't done at our shop. That was done by the shop across the street, who we do work with. My boss was going to charge me $12 for the materials, and the owner of the shop across the street, I asked him, "Hey, how much will you charge me?" He said, "I'll do it for free." So that was real nice of him.
Made back when,
folks were riding horses and carriages.
So this is the path that planer had to take to get back into my shop. And yeah, everything's a mess. Over here's a lot of line shaft gear that I purchased recently. I got a good deal on that as well, but I had to buy the whole pile, so I ended up with a lot of stuff I didn't need. I call going through this part of the house going through the Black Forest, because we never get back there and do any trimming. And up into the driveway, and there's the planer bed and legs.
So we got a little ways to go.
there's Inspector Emma patrolling the shop, inspecting things.
Figured out you can't get it.
I love that cat. She was saying hi to the new planer at the doorstep there, knocking to come in.
Not realizing they're on
So yeah, I inched that back down that path, and now it's at the doorstep there.
Scissor gate there. It's
So.
usually closed. I usually have a curtain over this, so it's
Yeah, and part of this, you know, part of getting this through this door, I actually end up using that big simplex jack that I picked up. So really glad I bought that. I needed a toe jack. We had a small one at work, and somebody broke the toe on it at some point, probably because they didn't have the 10-ton model. Anyhow, and they welded the toe back on, and there was some other weld repair done on it. So anyhow, that. And I could have borrowed it. We actually used it to move that Monarch lathe that I've got. So it works fine. They did a good job on the repairs, but it's nice to have your own tools. So, we all have to borrow tools every once in a while, but it's nice when you can have your own. And you should always try to have your own. So here's another place where pallet jacks come in handy. I've got to get this up over this little step here. It's about 2 inches high.
Get your pallet jack under there.
Maybe a little less. But that's a lot when you're dealing with, 1,000-pound machines. So I got it such that I can slide that pallet jack under there, and then I just use it to jack it up. And I can nice and smoothly roll the first end of it into the door. Of course, I couldn't do that with the rear end, so again, here's where I've got that nice toe jack out, and I just lift that up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of bricks under there, under the wheels, to kind of match the height, and that'll make it so I can lever the other end of the machine on into the shop. Love that toe jack. And here it is in the shop, and there's my brick setup. You see, I found that one angled brick there, and it somebody cut it for something, and it worked out just perfect to the angle I needed. So that went pretty smoothly. And then it's just a matter of levering it on along the shop floor. That cart is really junky. It came with it, and it does not roll real nice. But yeah, couldn't have done it without that toe jack there, I at less than 24 hours after I bought it, it helped save my butt. It would have been, and those are much more of a pain to get that into the shop without that. So, and here she is, taking up a tremendous amount of space to where I can not walk around very easily in the shop anymore. So I'll have to get her put together as quickly as I can and stop it from taking up so much space, and get it off that cart and get it situated somewhere where I can clean it up and work on it. It's in really good condition, and I came to find out after I bought it that this thing was apparently auctioned off back in the 1980s from the Henry Ford Museum. So it was in the Henry Ford Museum. The research I've been able to do on it, there's only a very few of these that are even known to exist anymore. They never did make a lot. It was a very small maker, Birch, out of Manchester, England, who was apparently well known for their ornamental turning lathes. So anyhow, it was probably made anywhere from 1880 on up to 1900, somewhere in there. Uh,
Jack rolling on back here. Everything for
and I'm very happy to have it. It is in remarkably good shape. There's a few minor issues with it that need addressing, which I intend to do in some future videos. So, she's home now, and in another video I'll go ahead and start getting it together and going through it and showing how all this works. And hopefully before too long I'll be doing some planing on it. So if you like these videos, please do like them. You know, I'd like to hear some feedback on this. This is kind of a new thing for me, trying the voiceover. So and you know, I'm kind of forced into this. I was using the YouTube Capture app, and I updated my phone to iOS 11, and the Capture app no longer works, and YouTube says they're not going to support it anymore. So I'm trying to get used to this new editing software. Maybe I can end up making some better videos as a result. So, like I said, if you like these videos, please do like them. If you have any comments or questions, you know, there's a place for that. And if you'd like to see more, please do subscribe. Have a wonderful day.